Welcome, aspiring poets! The Poet Guardians have been helping us master the types of figurative language we find in poetry, so we can help restore beauty to Verse Valley. This is quite the quest. Figurative language is a key to unlocking new worlds. It can sneak inside a stanza or leap from the page. It can command a new idea or sigh like an old sage. It can... What do you mean? What do I mean, Mia? Well, I do sound like a poet, don't I? Well, what makes my language figurative? Oh, maybe you noticed the metaphor, or the simile, or maybe our next topic of study, personification. By the end of this lesson, you'll learn how to identify, interpret, and analyze personification in a poem. I bet we'll find the guardian of personification in that once majestic-looking palace over there. Well, this palace isn't only kind of lackluster, it's locked. But the door does have an inscription to interpret. Let's read it while we think about how we can identify the powerful presence of figurative language and perhaps go inside? The house with joy extends a warm embrace. Its windows grin as I quicken my pace. The garden, hushed and still, craves a poet's verse. Let true poetry step forth and disperse the curse. This door is definitely trying to tell us something. For starters, what figurative language do you see? Pause the video here so you can highlight any examples you see in your PDF. Did you notice the house described as joyful? The windows given a grin? The garden quietly craving poetry to step inside and revive Verse Valley? That's personification. Personification makes things come alive. Specifically, it gives non-human things the qualities of being human. Okay, we don't want to confuse personification with other types of figurative language. Jot down how to spot personification easily in your PDF. To find personification, look for moments when an object, idea, or nature is given human emotions, human personality, or physical traits, verbs showing human actions. Wow! Now this is a palace of personification. Mia found a guest book that, as no surprise, contains a poem. While we read it together, highlight each example of personification that you find. If you're having trouble, look back at your notes. And remember, you can pause the video and resume when you're ready. In the palace halls where silver dances through air, our chairs pulled closer, inviting me to share. In the palace halls, grand candles wink and sway, as goblets gossip of the feasts they relay. Chandeliers observe the ball wise and tall, and eyes of patient pets plead for crumbs to fall. In the palace of old where shadows drift and brood, walls await new voices for joy to be renewed. I found lots of objects in this room described with human actions. The silver dances and the chairs are inviting the guests to share something. Oh, totally, Mia. Candles don't actually wink. Goblets can't gossip. So these things are all being described with human action verbs. Did you find any objects showing human emotions? I think I do. The shadows brood, which means they're unhappy. Oh, yes, that's right too, Mia. The poet calls the chandelier wise. Words like wise and patient are human personality traits. So we've unlocked how to identify personification, but what does it mean? Well, we know figurative language cues us to think more deeply about what is being said. Silverware can't actually dance. Walls don't literally wait. Let's inspect the poem's examples. What is this figurative language meant to convey? Here's what I'm thinking. Maybe you agree. Silver dancing is really the forks and knives in motion as guests enjoy their meal. The candles don't wink, but they flicker. Goblets can't gossip, but they do get held close in a toast, like someone leaning in for a secret. Then these shadows, they aren't actually brooding, but because the guardian of personification is still stuck in a deep sleep somewhere, there is a sense of despair in the valley. True, walls can't literally wait either. I think that means the party's over, Mia. When a human waits, they kind of pause, maybe they're quiet, and they don't do much of anything. I guess the walls of this room have also gone quiet. But we are expected to save Verse Valley, so maybe that line means we're the new voices that bring the celebration back to the palace. All right, so we know what personification is and how to interpret it. To take it a step further and analyze it in a poem, we have to get really curious. Why do you think a poet would use personification? What would the poem be like without it? Questions like this can lead us to understand the effect the poet is trying to have on readers. Let's break down the effects personification can create. Keep track in your PDF to return to later. First of all, it adds imagery. When words are crafted with sensory details, we can actually experience what we read. When imagery meets personification, we visualize details in wild ways, picturing things alive and aware as humans. What are some lines you imagined vividly in your mind? I picture the silverware doing pirouettes and goblets whispering beneath the noise of the whole scene. The poet must have used so much personification to make readers see a bit of magic everywhere. Secondly, it adds interest. We instantly become more interested when we can relate to what we're reading. Personification can draw us into details that, without it, could be static or plain. Which line is your favorite or caught your attention the most? There were lots of surprises, right? The poet could have just said, they clinked glasses. But now I'm wondering, what are goblets gossiping about? She could have said, there's a chandelier on the ceiling, but instead gave it powers of observation and wisdom. How exciting! All this personification has made me wonder what I'd be doing at this party. Dancing, chatting, discreetly feeding the dog French cuisine from my palm. Lastly, it builds on the tone and mood. Remember, writers choose words that reflect their attitude and the mood they want to transfer to readers. Do they want us to feel cheerful, sympathetic, gloomy, or tense? Giving inanimate objects or animals human emotions can definitely achieve that result. What words would you use to describe the feeling packed into this poem? I think it feels fun because of all the action throughout. Dancing, winking, gossiping. The mood also gets cozy as chairs are pulled closer and inviting. The speaker's tone is clearly very attentive to everything in the room, and then hopeful by the end that renewed joy will relieve those shadows. We sure know how to analyze personification, and this poet guardian sure knew how to throw a party. Now, this looks like a good place to find her sleeping soundly. What's that, Mia? Her diary? No, yeah, of course we're going to read it. She clearly needs help analyzing personification. As we read this poem, practice those skills. Think, What does the personification in this poem mean? And what effect does it create? A troubled cage murmurs to the moon. In the bedroom cloaked with gentle light, its door dreams of a hand, clever and soon. When shadows rest, freedom can take its flight. Where's the personification? Do you see it? Well, why would the cage be troubled? It's murmuring in the cloaked, shadowy bedroom, which has a mysterious feeling, right? The door dreams of a clever hand. How do you interpret that? How about you, Mia? For sure, a door can't dream and a hand can't be clever. Dreaming is a human action and clever describes people. I think you're right. That must be the guardian perched by the window. We should open the cage soon, like now, and freedom won't literally take its flight, but the guardian will. I think this has definitely scored us an invite to the dinner party. Plus, our in-depth analysis of personification has brought one more guardian back to the Temple of Poetry. Next time, we'll learn about hyperbole. This is so fun, I might explode! Until then, every story is a new horizon. See you next time!